name is Cecelia, and I am a current student in Professor Ronnie Choi's PHYSCI 121 class. The initial idea behind my community project actually came from the assigned Week 1 documentary videos detailing the life of Darius Weems and Dusty Brandom, both individuals who were diagnosed with Duchenne muscular dystrophy, and tracked to follow their journey living with its chronic and progressive disease. Their stories, and also those that I gathered from other online sources, were the inspiration for the series of poems that I wrote and will read in this video. I hope that themes of challenge, desperation, hope, and resilience will resonate with the audience, whether living with or without the disease. Told through the lenses of both the one living with the diagnosis, the I poems, and the ones, most often the family, directly affected by the diagnosis, the other poems. They are meant to evoke the very raw emotions of anticipating the birth of a child, the diagnosis of that same child, his early childhood, his adolescent years, and his early adulthood. The end of his life, represented by his early to late 20s, marks the final culmination of all suffering, adaptation, and hope he and others were capable of experiencing. Broken into 6 different sections based on stages of life, the first of these, titled Anticipation of Spring, marks the beginning of the boy's life from in the womb, before birth. This is told from the other's perspective alone, narrating the excitement and the awaiting of the child's birth. Unanswerable introduces the onset of the disease in childhood, with symptoms emerging as well as the search for a diagnosis. Both the boy and the family tell different perspectives. Tiny Buds describes the boy's early childhood, with resilience and adaptation already emerging. Changing Blossoms portrays new emotions of frustration, disappointment, and fatigue that set in as the boy matures and enters a stage of adolescent change. Unraveling Petals delves into the mundanity of early to late adult life, the increasing limitations on independence, and the uncertainties of living to see tomorrow. Finally, Brighter Still concludes the journey of the individual, presenting only the other perspective from a posthumous reflection to remember and bid farewell to the individual. Other. Lub-dub, lub-dub, lub-dub. He moves, following the probe, moving strongly, kicking mightily. I press my hand to the bump, just to hear it in synchrony with my own. Look, dear, there's our little one. It pounds with reason, soundless from afar, endless up close. It begins on its own, thumping strongly, thumping mightily. There he is, our son. His little arms and legs, aren't they just perfect? As a symphony, it palpitates, fashioning a repertoire. Can you hear it? A tiny, hardly audible rise. Inhale, replacing gradual falls. Exhale. How else does life begin but with a breath? I can walk, I can jump, I can run, I can stand on my own, just like the others around me. But then, Mama, Papa, it hurts. I can't. Mama and Papa are next to me, one on either side. Mama holds my hand. Papa wraps his arm tight around me, but something's wrong. Their arms shake as if earth is quaking beneath. Are they frightened, I wonder? A man dressed in a big white coat comes into the room. There's something wound around his neck. At the end of the loops, a disc, what looks like a bell. A bell, its silence ringing audibly, just like it is in this awfully small room. And then the earth quakes more. I hear the strange man bow his head and utter words, "I'm sorry." They float away even though I strain to listen. I can't understand the other words. I can't understand why Mama starts to cry. I can't understand why Papa's energetic voice suddenly becomes so small. His knees are giving way. He steadies himself against the chair. His arm reaches for Mama's, like he's hanging on for strength. Other. The breath seems to escape us. The scene before our eyes seems to fade. The dread turns into reality. The 3 letters, DMD. Who would have known these 3 would kill hope and eagerness, that there could be another, if only there was another reason, another cause, another explanation, anything. No, maybe they had made a mistake. Maybe they should run more tests. Maybe they got the wrong boy, the wrong family. It couldn't be us, could it be? It couldn't. Yet, it was. In that hushed moment, all that was left in my ears was my own heart that sunk, now too loud a thump. Too fast to even hear the echoes of my own sobs, tears wetting the front of my beige blouse. Other kids like to play with the toy cars, rolling around in them, pretending to drive, showing off to their mamas how grown up they are, how capable they are. Other kids like to play on the grass, kicking balls, catching balls, running on their feet, pretending that they could travel like lightning, flaunting to their friends how competitive they are, how capable they are. I've been watching from afar, following from a distance. I too drive, I too roll around, but the wheels of this car, they're my wheels. They're how I can run, they're how I get around. Sure, not as fast as them, sure, not as easily, but I'm still capable. At least that's what Mama always tells me so. She tells me to thank God for the brilliant mind He has given me, for the family that I have, doctors that I go to, food that I eat, place that I call home. For my heart that beats inside, lungs that take in breath, arms that are still strong, legs even if they are weak. She tells me to close my eyes and think on these, when I sit and they stand, when I can't and they can, when I lack and they have, when I need and they're fine, when I cry and they laugh. Other. He's growing, both in stature and in knowledge. No longer the babe that I held, so close to my breast, so sweet his milky scent. No longer the one who crawled on the ground so cautiously, late by a few months than his younger sisters. But you wouldn't be able to tell from how he is now. He laughs about his wheels, pretending to be racing around, pretending to become accustomed to standing out in school pictures. He needs hugs, kisses, bedtime stories, and reassurance just like any other child. We're growing too. We're learning something about those 3 letters that first shook us from head to toe. We're acquiring wave upon wave of mercies, small miracles based in compassion from neighbors, from friends, from church, from community, even national forums. They've become our hands and feet to lift the arms and legs of our little boy, to win in the fight. I'm stuck now. I'm stuck to rigidity, and not just a schedule, a routine of IV infusions, of therapies, yes, fancy ones that correct genes, of tablets and meds. Is it just false hope? I can't help but think they just seem to keep me stuck here, like an animal, trial after trial, no push or pull, just feet held to the same ground. It feels long, prolonging and prolonging. Do I even want to live like this? Rolling out of bed every morning, but getting weaker and weaker, and I feel it every waking hour. As the long days go by, as I creep into bed, Mom and Dad carrying me, I wonder if there will ever be an end to it all. I'm stuck to these wheels. I hardly can call them my own now. I hardly want to call them my own. They chain me down, always the slowest to reach the end, the same end that the others can get to. I'm the tortoise, they're the hares. Slow and steady wins the race. But do I have much time? How much time do I even have left? Should I wallow in my griefs and openly cry, or keep silently to myself and force a smile when others ask, "Do you need some assistance?" Seems to always be out of obligation. I try to think the best. But I know I make them worry. I know I slow them down. I know I'm the cause of all their wrinkles and scrunched brows. Maybe they think I'm oblivious. Maybe they think I don't know. But I know. Other. He's growing up. We've got a new room furnished with larger doors to wheel him in. We removed the old, musty carpet, installed wooden floors all waxed and polished for those big wheels to slide easy. I built a bed for him with my own hands, the carpenter that I am. Never had thought that my work would be for my own son. Not just so that he has a better place to sleep in, but a bed that doesn't have all the railings like he used to when he was young. A bed that could make it easier just to sleep, to get up, to sit back on. For him. Not just so that he's wheeling in, maneuvering through doors, down the hallway, up the stairs to talk to the girls. He's getting good moving around, the adjustment not a small feat. But I worry. I think about him all the time because it's quality over quantity. These drugs, these trials may be helping, but to him, is it all worth it? He's older now to bear the brunt of the decision, the headaches, throwing up, insomnia, mood changes, the weight gain. He notices. He's not immune to these changes. It's been his life. There's something that's changed in those quiet, bright eyes. He's quieter. He contemplates more, and he's in his room, playing games on his laptop, reading a book, doing all the things that teenagers do. But he seems different. Every morning when I wake, the first thing I call for is Dad. At 21, it bugs me that I still have to do that I still have my dad come to my room. I hear him right away, his feet brisk and steady as he approaches, swings open my door, sits me up, and half carries, half drags my weight up to those wheels. Except those wheels have changed. They're no longer the ones from spring when my arms were still able, when they could still steer the cart. Yes, they're new. They run instead of roll. They're powered by automaticity more than manual labor. My arms have grown weary. I can hardly lift them up without having to drop them back down, without having to heave a sigh of relief when they droop and dangle. My legs feel like dead weight, for so many years unused, just crossed, looking pretty, mere pretense for limbs of a human being. I wish I could be numb to all of the pain. These trials, they've ended. These treatments, they've stopped. Now it's just comfort. Now it's just listening to parents talk soothing words. Now it's just listening to the missed beats as I catch the cardiologist's mournful glance. Now it's just looking out at the trees on the front porch. Now it's just looking out beyond the mountain peaks that border my home. Now it's just feeling the breeze and longing that it would take me with it. Now it's just feeling anticipation that turns into waiting and waiting. For what? I'm not sure yet, but it's coming and it's certain. Other. I peer from the small crack still there in the door after I'd made sure that he was fast asleep. I peer at him and my mind becomes thick, clouded, fogged, flooded with rain. They're not tears though. They're not even crushed hopes. I can't quite describe it. Words don't suffice to tell these emotions. It's a sense that something is coming. Something is coming. Something is certain. I've learned this well. I'm not ready yet. No, maybe not ever. But every night I lean in. I pause just to hear it. Just to hear the small quickened inhale, exhale. The up and down chest movements. His room looks different now, even in the dark. The portable ventilator that Doc had approved, the oxygen mask that hides his small features. Those eyes once bright, now dull, with the tiresome weight of figuring out life. It had equipped him. It had ripened him for real hope in the afterlife. It seemed like he was ready. Is brother dying? The girls ask. If he is, I don't want to think too far. But I check still, every night sitting on the mattress, holding his hand, squeezing it so that he stays with me in the present, caressing it so that even if he slips off, my love will escort him into deep sleep. Other. The breeze of your spirit lands where it pleases, until it rests here, in the garden where you lie, arms so prettily, so daintily, hands clasped on top of the laundered white we clothed you in, legs elongated as with a straightener, dignity clouding weakness, and restful sleep overshadowing fatigued wakings, with no great care crossing your drifting mind. Are you at peace now? Finally soaring as high as the eagles, no need to carry the weight of those dead legs, no need to silently wince when struck by overwhelming aches in the joints, no need to dry those tears of frustration when making it through doorways, no need to ponder the existence of any more tomorrows. No need to plan each day living as if it were your last. No need to pray so that others would not weep for you as the breath of air became thin like a haze, so close to your face yet out of reach, until it was much too great an effort to inhale. We can see you now, the portrait of health, walking without falling, running without fainting, chasing after radiant beams of light that bounce off of your favorite windows right next to your bed, where you would lay your head and smile, each ray coloring your cheeks rosy, lifting your weary countenance until you would fall into deep sleep. We can still hear you in the waxed corridors next to big polished glass screens where we drop by every Thursday morning, the place that smelled of alcohol swabs, the place that you lay when they poke needles through you, the place that you turned to me squeezing my hand to tell me everything was going to be just fine. In that place, which offered a glimmer of hope in the face of despair, which ushered in conversation about the hours, days, weeks, and months to come. More than the squeaky wheels that signaled your arrival, more than the laughter you kindled in the rigid and stoic, coated in white. We can still hear you. It's different. It's filled with other noises, other wheels, other types of squeaks, other sounds of ecstasy from behind each wooden door, but they haven't replaced you. No, we can't hear your squeaky wheels. No, we can't hear your cries of pain. No, we can't hear your shallow breaths. No, we can't hear the hopelessness that hides behind labels. Deterioration, disability, limitation, weakness, progressive decline. Why? Because you're more alive now than ever. Resilience is what adorns our memory of you. You are more than the physical distance you could tread, but now there is no distance that is too much for you. Up where you are, you're finally free to run. Throughout the audio for this series of poems, I hope you are able to distinguish between the I and other perspectives, paying attention to how they differ, but also how they overlap in many ways. The human experience of disease is not just limited to onset and recovery. It encapsulates so much more than what care providers or physicians merely see from monthly or even weekly visits with their patients. Though I've gained greater knowledge about the genetic causes of DMD, the diagnosis process, and the pursuit of curative treatment, I hope that research may not lose sight of the end goal. I hope that research may continue to direct its path and its ambitions toward the patient, towards seeing the patient as an individual human being rather than labeled or even marred by the disease. Yes, DMD is progressive, but in this venture to battle it and ultimately vanquish it, research is progressive and running as well, which will gradually beat this foe to the finish line. My attempt to put the experience of DMD into words, though I acknowledge they will not suffice, carries the intention that this literary form of expression might build greater compassion and awareness, as well as initiative for not only better understanding among medical professionals, but also community support. Thank you.